Xander Zayas versus Jaron Ennis. The fight is going to take place in less than 24 hours. Listen, I can't promise you who's going to win, but I'm definitely going to tell you who I want to win. I want Xander Zayas, the pride of Puerto Rico, the young absolute stud, to shock the world and put on a masterclass and outbox Jaron Ennis. Listen, this is such a tough ask. I've literally watched every single Jaron Ennis fight available before making this video, and the man is way better than I thought, I'm not gonna lie. He's so good. His right hand from the southpaw stance, that check hook, from the orthodox stance, that looping overhand chopping right hand is absolutely devastating. And his sharp jab, the man got crazy reflexes. He's so dynamic, he's so talented, and he's so sharp. He's so dialed in. And listen, even though I want Xander to win, but that doesn't mean that I don't like Jaron. You know, Jaron will, without a question, no matter what happens, he is destined to become one of the greatest fighters of this generation. But, you know, just for the entirety of the sport, if Jaron wins, nothing will happen really. You know, like he doesn't really have, you know, his personality is non-existent, I'm gonna be honest. But Xander, you know, the man walks like a superstar. The man talks like a superstar. Everything about Xander Zayas screams box office. And you know, like, I just wish that Xander took this fight a couple of years from now, but I don't think the man got much more time in the 154-pound division. I believe this will probably be his last fight. That is why he's daring to be, you know, great, going big. If things don't work out, then he'll just move to 160. And I believe he will be a champion at 160. He will be much better at 160. But, you know, he did look weight drained. Both men actually looked weight drained on fight week. You know, I'm not going to lie. Both men looked like they were, you know, having a heavy cut. But Xander, you know, how can he win this fight? He got to win this fight on the back foot. He got to press Jaron at times when Jaron gets frustrated. But especially in the early stages of the fight, he got to weather the early storm. I mean, Jaron Ennis is an absolute freight train. He's a monster without a question. So Xander got to pick his spots wisely early in the fight. And you know, Virgil Ortiz just picked Jaron to knock out Zayas in 4 rounds. I get it. It's because Zayas got heart, and Zayas will probably stand and trade early on, and that will leave him open for Jaron's violent shots. But let's be positive here. Let's think of the ways that Xander can win this fight. Listen, he got a long jab. Even when he gets hit more times than not on the top of the head. Why? Is because, you know, his chin is always tucked, you know. Like the man barely ever leaves his chin up in the air. While Jaron does leave his chin up in the air, but Jaron can afford to do that. Is because he's more talented, more dynamic, and his reflexes are way sharper than Xander's. Xander is a basic fighter, and I mean this in the most complimentary way possible. You know, his fundamentals are perfect, but he doesn't have the X factor when you talk about knockout power, when you talk about lightning speed, when you talk about superb defense, when you talk about iron chin. I mean, listen, both men's chins, we don't really know about their chins because none of them ever really fought any true punchers, but especially Xander, you know, like at least Jaron fought Royman Villa, who's a puncher. And he got hit clean at 147, you know, while he was way more drained than now. Got hit many times with the uppercut. And he never really wobbled. But in that second Karen Chukazian fight, in the first round, at the end of the first round, you know, Karen made him do the funny step. You know, it's like he caught him off balance with the left hook. He caught him many times with the left hook. But you know what? You know who got one of the best left hooks at 154? Xander Zayas. You know, if only Xander had more power I would pick him without a question. But the stamina, like the fight, the longer the fight goes, the weight cut might show up when it comes to the Xander side. And not just that, Jaron, if he goes to the body early, if he starts investing to the body early, he's going to break Xander down. But Xander also got to go to the body, but not as much. He's taller than Boots, he's longer than Boots, and his fighting style is more designed to keep you on the outside. And when the fight gets on the inside, he uses, those short uppercuts and the left hook, downstairs, catch, and then go up top. So it's like, Xander can win this fight if he fights in spots in close range, uses the left hook in spots. But listen, make no mistake, beautiful people. If Jaron Boots Ennis gets reckless in the fight and gets careless, and he's been doing it for a long time, without paying for it, where he lunges in with no setups, just with the high guard, unloading with power shots, Xander can make him pay with that left hook. Xander's right hand there's not really much behind it, but his left hook and his lead jab are his two best weapons. And even sometimes, I love it when Xander mixes things up and uses the lead uppercut. And his angles are also extremely underrated. Like I said in my last video, I watched Xander versus Alsabbagh a couple of days ago for the first time. And the angles that he was using, the commentators didn't really give him credit for it. It's because Abbas was just on him all night long. So he made the fight ugly, but Xander was fighting beautifully in the fight. And I have no idea how the fight was a split decision. I believe that Xander dominated the majority of the fight. But not too long to find out. I just, listen, Jaron, he should win this fight. If I had I'm not a betting man. I'm Muslim. But if I was a betting man, you gotta bet on Jaron, Jaron is, the safe money is on Jaron Boots Ennis without a question. But I don't know. I'm rocking with Xander in this fight. I love Xander Zayas, I've been watching him since he was literally a kid, 17 years old. And what's funny? I was when I used to watch him on the top rank cards, where he was 3-0, 6-0, I don't even remember. He was very, very young and immature, inside the ring. But I used to ask myself, I used to be when will this guy ever step up? Forget stepping up. The man, skipped 10 steps and went for one of the greatest talents of our generation. And the power, the power of Jaron does concern me in this fight. Please excuse the renovations going on upstairs, beautiful people. No, it's not the time. It's not the time. But let's get back into it. Listen, beautiful people. Jaron Boots Ennis, I promise you, he will fight this fight predominantly in the southpaw stance. Is because he want to out-jab Xander. And Jaron, even though he's a switch hitter, but I believe his most powerful, the most powerful hand that he got is his right hand. His right side is more powerful. And he wants to discipline Xander with the jab, and his southpaw jab is way more powerful than the orthodox jab, his orthodox jab. Make no mistake, Jaron, he goes to the body beautifully also with his left hand. But there's, he can knock you out with both hands, but his right hand is definitely, without a question, more dangerous. All I'm saying is this, beautiful people. All I'm saying is this. Not only do I want Xander to win the fight, but I'm really hesitating to pick Xander. It's when I watch both men, I find it really, really hard to find, a clear path to victory for Xander. But I'm picking Xander in this fight. I'm picking Xander Zayas to put on a masterclass and upset Jaron Ennis. You know what? I gotta snap back into it. I'm picking Xander. What am I doing here? I've been picking with my heart over my mind. And I seem to do it every time I pick the underdog. But more times than not, my heart does not fail me, And like I said, listen, like just watching the tape, if somebody tells me this is a mismatch, I'll be like, I get it, That's how good Jaron Ennis is. And Xander is drained. This is another thing why I'm hesitating to pick him. But forget that. I'm picking Xander Zayas in this fight. The part of Puerto Rico, if Xander wins this fight, next week I'm going to be posting nothing but Xander Zayas videos. I'm going to become the #1 YouTube Xander Zayas supporter channel. Love Xander Zayas. I really, really, really hope that he can pull this off. It is a tough ask. It is. I believe, Fundora is a better stylistic matchup for Zayas than Jaron. But you know what? Every dog has their day. And it always seems impossible until it's done. And Xander will get this done. Yes. Come on, people. Come on. Let's all root for Xander Zayas. Let's uplift this kid, this young, beautiful, daring to be great young man. Let's go Xander Zayas. And listen, if Jaron wins the fight, I'll give him credit, of course, but it's like, did you really do the unthinkable? You're nearly a 5-1 favorite. So you should win this fight. And I know that I sound like Jaron Ennis, hater, or some might call it, but I'm just being honest, beautiful people. I like Jaron. I've always picked Jaron, if you go back to my videos, versus any style, but not in this one. Maybe I'm going with my heart. Some might say that I'm, putting my emotions over my common sense, but listen, I don't care. I'm going with Xander Zayas, the pride of Puerto Rico, to shock the world and pull off the upset and give Jaron Ennis his first loss. Come on, Xander. You got this.